honest, the day I started wearing my turban, I just felt like something heavy has been lifted.
Really?
And this is me. I don't care what people say about me. I felt beautiful
Oh,
because
wow. That's awesome.
growing up, I have had, she's not fair enough. Her nose is not,
Pointy.
pointy enough. Leadership and my extended leadership has said to me directly that, Harpreet, we understand why blend in when you're born to stand out, but can you stop standing out too much?
Yeah.
Question like this, that you have had such an amazing career, amazing family, amazing
Oh my
life.
God.
Did you ever think that you'll come to Golan's garage and, and talk about
It's
yourself?
such a big privilege of mine
Thank
to
you
be
for coming.
here. I
I
never thought in my dreams.
finally I've made it big. That God,
You,
sorry, I
thank
got
you,
like blanked off, and I won't cut that out as well, so that people see how like
I'm okay
natural
to
this
be
is.
called Miss. That's
But
that's totally.
but how's
okay.
your day been so far?
It's been crazy. It's
Considering
good.
the last week, right? How
yeah,
has the morale
last-
been in
last
work, and
week
how has the morale
was-
been in family?
Last week was emotionally draining.
Yeah.
I'm sure it
I'll
was,
be
yeah.
honest. Last week was emotionally draining for my mental health.
Oh,
I
gosh.
tried to be available, to be present for all my mentees, whoever was calling me. On Wednesday, I think I counted, I had 28 calls.
In one day, like
In
in,
one
in
day.
8 hours.
Isn't that amazing?
That is out
Wow.
of my day job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was literally crying by the end of the day, feeling blessed,
Yeah.
feeling humbled, but at the same time it was not even the feeling of that, oh my God, I am safe. It's like, how can I help?
Yeah.
So I think I had very less sleep last week. I was trying to be as present for my mentees, and even followers, and even my team, because we had to huddle the team as well. My manager, my CVP, all of them had to huddle the team and say, we are okay, but then how can we help the
How can you help?
people who are impacted?
Yeah.
So it was hard, but going into the weekend, you get together with the family. My weekend was crazy busy as well, which was a good thing.
What did you
because
do on the weekend?
Oh my God, I had a family over for one dinner, or actually for lunch, and then we had to go somewhere for dinner, and then the next day also I had someone's dinner. So I think it was good distraction
Yeah.
when you have family over as well, or friends over, because it didn't give me time to think about the emotional drain I had.
Have
and
you
it's-
processed it though?
I don't think I have. It's still ongoing. I still have a lot of mentees to help with. Especially, there are a few who are on visa.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's the hardest part.
that
That's the most difficult
they've
part, yeah.
got 60 days.
Oh my God,
right?
2
So
months.
I'm trying to help them on priority, and then there are others as well which I am trying to help. So we'll see how that is. But the crazy thing is, there is more demand. There is more supply than there is demand
In terms of the job market?
in the terms
That's
of
what
the
everyone's saying. But yet
right?
we keep hearing that the market is so bad, it's so bad.
Yeah, no, if you think about it, all the FANG companies as well as the mid-sized companies, they're still hiring.
Wait, really?
They are, even within Microsoft, and
So this is a myth, right? That they are not hiring.
no,
and like,
no.
Okay,
All
gotcha.
the companies, including, Microsoft.
So then what's going on? If they're hiring, then why are they laying people?
Yeah, I think it's the redirection. It's the strategy. It's the bigger strategy. Like, as we know, right? Azure, Chat API, even AI overall
Yeah.
is the big areas where we will be making a lot of investments. So during COVID times, during pandemics, we did had a lot of demand in retail, in online services. So there was a lot of hiring. And so now they're kind of rationalizing, oh, we did overhire. And now they're just, looking at the strategic long-term planning. So that's where I feel like the, changes are. But then there are like
I
people
have a
like you
question.
and
Do
me.
you buy that reasoning? Like that is the reason why companies are laying off?
If you
And I'll
think,
tell you why. The reasoning is because if you look at like the numbers again, right? Let's say 15,000 people or 10,000 people on an average in a company got laid off, right?
Yep.
Let's say even the tech average salary is 150K or a conservative number like 100K, right? 100K times 10,000 is 1 billion dollars, right? And usually companies work out in a way where they take out debt from banks and they take out debt of like billions of
or
dollars.
they can like kind of reduce people's
So money is
salary
not the
by like,
concern,
you know,
right?
take
And as
the salary by 1%, 2%.
exactly, and the thing is like even if they want to pivot, right, they can pivot in a way where they can like use the existing people because hiring is expensive.
It is super
So
expensive.
they can pivot the existing people into this. So why
Yeah,
is the
I think
reason for layoff?
I'll tell you, it's the job profiles. They are also making sure that they have the right people in the right place. You know, if you think about it, and I don't buy, if you ask me, Harpreet, do you buy it altogether? No, I don't. But in the end, if you think about it, if we do not need that many backend developers, right? Because we now need 100K more front-end developers or whatever it is, right? Or TPMs or product managers,
it's
like in my
they're going
area.
with the shift, right?
They're-
And they
they're
need
going-
to adjust the skill
Yeah,
set.
so it's more about can we upskill? But to your point, can we upskill the existing people versus letting them go? I think those are some of the decision makings which happen at a very, very,
Very
high
high
levels.
C-suite level, right?
At C-suite, levels, it's much beyond my pay level.
Yeah.
Even to be honest, I do not think our leaders even know what are the businesses are going to be cut, right? So I think sometimes I feel like in the end, I'm a very, very small fish in the bigger pond.
True.
Right?
Everyone is, yeah.
To a point, we spend more than 60% of our lives in our day jobs. Like, you know, I may be wrong in the percentage, but we spend a lot of time at work.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where I feel like changing a little segue into why I talk about personal branding all the time. Because today I can be taken away. Today I have a job, tomorrow I have no idea.
So how have you defined your personal brand, and like what is the impact that you want to have outside of your day job?
So think about when you were introducing me, right? I was feeling like, oh my God, do I do it all?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Oh my God.
And there were so many that I fumbled.
Yeah, no. So think, just going back in my day job, in my 9 to 5. Yes, I am a, TPM lead or principal TPM, whatever title you want to give me, right? That's my 9 to 5. Then my 5 to 9 is my vibe blend in, where I do keynote speaking, where I do leadership coaching and career coaching. And that is the personal brand I have built for myself, which kind of actually then pulls it back into my day job. It gives me the power. It gives me that spiel. It gives me, first of all, if I'm doing a lot of keynote speaking, it gives me that I'm a good speaker. Like, I can pitch in front of my leadership.
Yeah, you can drive meetings.
I can drive meetings, but I can bring that business, that storytelling at high level in front of the leadership, right? This is what we should be doing and why. Like, what's in for you? What's in for me, right? What's in for the business? So I can pull together those stories, and then they see the impact as well. Then another thing is, as personal brand, which you were asking, there are not too many of us, let's be honest, Mehak.
Yeah, and one thing I find,
there's a lot of Golan.
Yeah, there's a lot of, but one thing that really stood out to me about you is like, I mean, just like I've never seen a female leader who wears the turban and who has your story. Like, how does it feel to be in your shoes? Like, how do you feel wearing the turban?
It is very humbling, but at the same time, it's a lot of responsibility. This is my faith, and yes, when people look at me, they say, oh my God, she must be very spiritual. Yes, I am, but I do not put that in anybody. Like, it's my personal choice, and this is where I feel like it's growth which has happened to me. If you come to me in my 20s or even in my 30s, I was not this Harpreet.
Like this level of confidence, right?
Level of confidence. I was always trying to literally, become a chameleon or like shadow or blend in. Because I frankly feel like anytime as immigrant community, when we try to come and make those American dreams, we try to gel in. And I tried doing that. But guess what? I will never be that color. I can never have that accent. I can never have that background. So better just, take my
Shine on your own.
individuality and be authentic about it
Yeah.
and bring it all together. Love everyone. And because they've got amazing backgrounds, I've got amazing backgrounds, and I think if we gel together, it's really
That's
good.
the beauty, right?
That's the beauty.
Like one thing I've realized is like people say many countries are diverse. One thing people don't realize is like how diverse US is.
Oh,
It
the United
is.
States
US,
is crazy
you can
diverse. I
find
think it's one of the most diverse
Most
countries
diverse
on the planet.
countries in the world, I guess.
Yep.
Like, you cannot see the diversity of this kind in anywhere at all.
Yeah.
And people like still like shit on it. Like I don't know why. For
Yeah.
other reasons, but I'm like in terms of diversity, US has done a great job in like being a super diverse culture. Like I wouldn't have known about like Asian culture or American culture or like many other cultures had I not been in US.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we celebrate,
Yeah.
right? So, coming to it is a journey which I have taken. It's a journey of, trying to figure out who I am, what I stand for. Even though I was born and brought up in a very spiritual family, I never took that path till my 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you always used to wear the turban?
Nope.
What was the journey
Nope.
to wearing
So
the
if you can
turban?
I
give
was
us-
just like you.
Oh,
I'm
really?
Till
happy to
when?
share a picture till my 30s.
So what made you, can you walk us through what made you want to
Yeah,
transition?
so-
Since 20s, right? If you can walk us through your 20s and 30s and like
20s
Yeah.
was always 20s was just trying to figure out. I got married at 22,
Oh my God, that's
That's nice.
early.
and
Yeah.
I never met my husband before marriage.
So you met him at the
I met him I met him few days before wedding in person.
okay.
So he was in US, I was in India. I was doing my master's computers. He was already working in Tata Consultancy, and he was in US. And my mom was like, he's same age as you. He's computers. He's also in this. What else do you need? Okay, good.
Wow.
This is 90s or 2000s?
2003.
2003, okay.
And so I was like, okay. She showed me a picture. In that times, we do not have internet as fast as we have now.
Yeah, and the
So I
Especially
had
in
that.
India.
I had that. That desktop and that monitor where his picture was like opening up in layers. Like I could see his
waiting
turban,
for it.
that his nose, and then
Yeah.
his face full of beard.
So what did you
Yeah.
think? Okay, I'm cool.
He looked 20
Time
years.
to
He looks
compliment your
good.
husband. Time to
He looked
compliment your
good.
husband.
He looked much maturer than for his age for 22. Let's just
You know
say
he's
that.
watching the podcast,
Oh,
right? It's a
yeah, yeah,
compliment.
Yeah, and he's amazing. 20 years going strong. Actually,
Oh,
we will be
nice.
celebrating our 20th on 16th February.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
Heartiest congratulations to you
Thank
both.
you, thank you. So in advance, 16th February, and that's actually a lot of ups and downs in our not in our married life, but just in our general life, right?
Yeah.
And so we got married. We had to figure out what friendship is.
Oh my God. And then
Right?
what
Okay,
like
interesting.
love is, and then or
then
acceptance,
came
then
the
love.
acceptance, and then came, okay, this is what the husband wife is. Okay, now I get it.
Oh my God, I can't imagine that.
Okay.
Wow.
So that is why, like, it's just a pretty big journey. And then in 20s, we were just trying to figure out our married life. We were
Okay.
just trying, not even married life, our professional lives.
In US or in India?
So we were in India, but then we went to Singapore for a year, which was
Okay.
amazing because that was the time when we both were alone for a year. And we were also able to figure out, okay, this is what, like, love is.
And
basically.
moving in and living together.
In. And it was just like, think about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I felt like now I'm feeling it. So 20s was just trying to figure
Figure it
out
out.
who we are and
Yeah.
how what's going to be our professional life. So he was already working for Tata. And then when we came back to India in Bombay, I got into Tata as well.
Okay. So that's where you formally started.
Yes. And then we came to US. I actually had my son. So my son is 17 and a half years old.
How old were
Actually,
you when you had your son?
I was 25.
My age.
wow.
Oh, I'm 26, so like around my age.
Yeah, so so when I tell people, my son is going to be in university. He's looking for. He's already applied for all the universities, so he will be in university this fall.
Where is he
Wow.
gonna go?
We'll see. He's already got accepted in UW.
Nice.
Nice.
That's a big one. UW is a really
Yeah,
big
so he
Amazing.
got into Bothell campus. He's still waiting on the Seattle campus. I think he'll know by March, but then he's applied to others as well.
nice.
So, and then I have a daughter who is 10 going on 16.
Wow. It's a very,
So
yeah.
30s, 20s was figuring out. We came to US first generation, and anytime I start telling immigrant story, my kids will be like, "Oh gosh,
Again.
mom's gonna be again like we came in 4 luggages
And with $2 in our pocket, and we've made it here just for you. So be grateful.
And I say, well, there's a little bit of nuance
Exaggeration,
there
yeah.
because I got a 6-month-old baby as well with me.
yeah.
Right? Like not only the luggage, but I had a 6-month-old baby who I had to figure out what to do with him.
Oh wow.
Right? Like alone. No support from family.
Just you and
extended,
your
just
husband.
me and my
You
husband.
where did you come? Seattle?
We actually came to North Carolina.
Oh, why North
Through
Carolina?
TCS.
Oh,
TCS.
through TCS.
So TCS sent both of us there. We both were with Nortel Networks, and then actually we ditched them because my husband got a job at Microsoft,
And that's where. it
and
kinda
that's
started.
where like when he came, then I got into Microsoft as well. So I feel like I keep kind of
Follow him.
follow him, but then I go forward.
Nice.
What is he also?
He
in
was
the
at
product space?
Microsoft for 12 years.
Oh,
Now
wow.
he's at Exxon. Exxon is a company which has monopoly in law enforcement.
Yeah. All the
so
cameras and everything.
Oh, he's
the-
at Axon.
Yeah.
Oh my
He's
god.
actually product head there.
Wait, who? Okay, I've interviewed at Axon multiple times.
Harshwinder Singh.
I
He's the only.
Axon is an
I'm pretty sure he'll
amazing
know John
company,
Song
yeah.
as well.
Oh, John
John Song
Song was my old manager.
He's amazing. John
He's-
Oh, you
Song
know
is
John
the
Song?
manager.
Nice.
John
Harshwinder.
Song is his man. Oh my god, I'm gonna
Nice.
text John, dude. John
Yeah.
was my manager for 2 years or a year and a half when I was at Microsoft, and
Oh, is it?
he brought me into product management.
Yeah. So my husband is now head of product.
Nice.
And for
small
yeah, it
Small
is.
world.
It is.
he
a
knows
small-
John as well.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
small
John
world.
is amazing.
He is.
So shout out to John because even though he's not at Microsoft or Amazon, he's at Exxon.
Axon.
But he's the one who supported my husband through a lot. My
Yeah.
husband
Oh,
went through a
wow.
lot 2 years back. Actually, 1.5 years back. It was life changing for us. So, anyways, back to your question.
Yeah,
I
how
think we
did it- yeah.
segued. 30s was the time when obviously, actually late 20s, visa issues, which most of the Indians have.
Yeah.
Like you didn't get the H-1B?
No,
or what happened?
actually, interestingly enough, when we both applied for H-1B, that was the first year when lottery happened. We both got into
Oh,
lottery.
wow.
We were
Nice.
so lucky. We had one friend who tried for 5 years, did not get it, went back to India.
Yeah.
So we were lucky, but then, RFEs and then moving from one place to another, coming to Seattle with just few thousands in pocket.
And that's not a lot. People don't
And then
understand
we
that.
bought a new car and then we had to sell because we did not had money for its
Oh.
mortgage because my visa got delayed. So I was going to join a company. 100 things. Like, when people say, I literally had a jar where I used to put change. And I used to walk 3 miles. We used to live in Federal Way. Because I was with the management consulting company before Microsoft Sierra Systems, and they were dealing with all the public offices. So I was with Department of Correction, I was with Department of Revenue, Administrative Office of Courts, doing projects for them. And I was taking a van pool because we did not have money to buy a car. So I was gonna he would drop me at 6:30. First of all, we would wake this 2-year-old kid at 5:30 in the AM just to get him ready. So because he would drive to Microsoft, which was 40 miles for him, 55 miles for Federal Way was kind of the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that was hard
You guys have
times.
hustled. I think people look at people
That's-
on the internet, they look at their journey and they're like, wow, but they don't realize all the things.
So I think that is when I'm sharing this is not to say that, oh, I've gone through the struggles, all that thing. everyone goes through struggle.
Yeah.
Everyone, yeah.
Every, like, think about it. When we say Ellen, we look at Oprah, we look at, or even our own, like in tech, Satya Nadella,
Yeah.
right? Think about it. He has three kids. One,
Passed away.
Passed away, yeah.
From
special, right?
yeah.
Like, think about it, how much a parent has to go through with the
It's
special
not
kid.
easy.
It's not
Yeah,
easy.
everyone.
I
I think
always-
everyone has their own demons, their own struggles.
Exactly.
Everyone, no matter who you are on the planet.
Exactly. So I think when we talk about success, so 20s went like that, and that's when I think when we were going, you kind of find solace in something. And my thing was congregation. My thing was finding like-minded people. That's when I think we connected more towards like God
Yeah.
in our ways, and that's where I think we got families and friends who never forced us into anything, but it's when we started feeling good,
Nice.
and some miracles happened as well, in terms of jobs. One day we didn't had a job. The second day we both our visas got actually approved the same day.
Wow. So you think having faith has and that strong conviction in God has played a part of your journey?
It did,
I'm sure.
and still do.
Yeah.
I feel like even if it's not that I cannot see it, the one thing is, as humans, our sight is very narrow, right? We can see what's happening right now. We cannot predict the future. We can work towards it, but looking back, you will say, oh, that is the reason I didn't get that job. Oh, that is the reason I did not get that promotion, because that was going to happen. I will tell you, when I was interviewing for Microsoft, I got rejected from Amazon. I got rejected 2 times from T-Mobile. I think 1 time or 2 times from Expedia. I still remember, so we were living in that time, we bought our home in Issaquah, Renton Highlands. We used to take 405, come to Microsoft, because I was a V-Dash. I was a
Okay.
consultant
Oh,
at
you
Microsoft.
started as V-Dash. Wow.
Nice.
From
Uh,
V-Dash to principal.
2009. 2009, I started as a V-Dash at Microsoft through Sierra Systems. And so, interestingly enough, every single day when my husband and I used to drive on that 405 and T-Mobile campus comes in,
Yeah.
that pink
Building,
buildings,
yeah.
I would have tears in my eyes.
Shit.
And he would say, and I said, Harsh, his name is Harshwinder, so I call him Harsh. And I'm like, am I not that good enough?
Yeah.
And he's like, don't worry, keep doing what you're doing. And
It will land.
and guess what? I think that's great. I did not get into T-Mobile, or I did not get into Expedia, because I was able to get into, first time I interviewed for Microsoft and I nailed it, and I got
Nice.
into Microsoft.
And Microsoft is an incredible company.
It is amazing. It has been. I was actually expecting when I got married, when I got
The
at
offer.
Microsoft.
Nice.
Wow.
I was pregnant.
So you went all the way from V-Dash, grew all the way.
I actually joined them as senior solution
you joined
manager.
as senior.
Yeah, I joined them as senior. Looking back, I could have pushed myself. I actually complain about that to my husband. You didn't tell me about levels.
Yeah.
There's no levels or FYI
Yeah.
back then.
So what is like one of the things that you said you mentor a lot of people? How do you guide them in terms of starting a new job, accepting an offer? Do you have tips on negotiating now that you look back?
So as part of Viblend, and the
What is
reason-
Viblend, if you can like, and
Yeah.
why
Yes.
did you start it?
Yes, so it's a story in itself as well. So think about it. Today, few years back, I don't know, was it 4 or 5 years back? I had a really, I had a health issue. Let's just call it that. Which was quite life changing for me. I was actually out of work for 3 months.
Oh. Wow.
And to a point where I was not even able to go to restroom without help.
Oh no.
And I kept thinking, okay, I'll go back to work if I am able to go back to work, if I don't die. So one day, I was just sitting and talking to my husband. I said, today, if something happens to me, you know what, any company, not just like, I love Microsoft, any company, we are a small fish in the big pond, as I said, right? They are going to send a message to your team that, unfortunately, this has happened. We will have counseling services to talk to you today. Please reach out if you need help. HR and, benefits will be there
Yeah.
to help you. That's about it.
Yeah.
You have to grieve on your own. You have to, if you are very close to whoever that person who has went to heavenly abode, you have to grieve on your own. And then within a week, sometimes even not even 2 days, your role is backfilled or open for backfilling and interview process done. That's it. That's your life, right? In any company.
Wow, that hits so deep.
Right? And so that's when I felt like, what's my legacy? Right? And as a first generation woman of color, I've struggled a lot, even to a point where when I was when you start asking for promotions and you're being a little verbose, they're like
aggressive.
She's aggressive, she's bold,
pushy,
right?
She's too much.
She's or stand out, Harpreet, stand out a little less.
Yeah, or like
right?
You're too much.
You're too much.
Which
I think,
never has a good connotation.
And so
Wait, literally every female counterpart that I've had, right, has said this. So does this happen like very subtly? Does this happen very vocally?
I feel like it happens to women.
I personally, right, maybe I'm so aloof that I haven't seen that, or I haven't had like any reportees under me that I have had a conversation like this.
Depends.
But is it very subtle or is it very vocally that, hey...
It is both. I have had both. I have had to a point where my leadership and my external leadership has said to me directly that, Harpreet, we understand why, Blendon, when you're born to stand out, but can you stop standing out too much?
Yeah, I've also had this. I think it also depends on how your personality is. I think if you're more quiet, you're more introverted, nobody will, you might not get those comments.
Or like I was I think I was to a point where I told them, this is what I want. What do I need to do to reach that
I know
goal?
every time you ask for a promotion, you state what you want. You have that pronounced attitude. That's the sentiment, and they would never say that about a man. They'd be like, oh, he's so decisive.
He's so decisive, or I like the approach you're taking for your career.
Yeah,
that's the thing,
you're
and is it only male managers or female managers?
No, it has happened to. I think.
Or is it like
I haven't had a lot of female managers.
That's another thing, in my 20 plus years, I feel like, and these are the things which I've learned, as a manager, also, that what not to do when you're a manager, right?
Yeah.
Like, every person, like some reportees of yours will be very much interested in career growth. Some will be like, not. I'm good where I am. Just let me cruise along.
Yeah, managing people is the toughest job in the world.
I think it comes with it.
Being a mom is tougher.
What I meant is mom is also managing someone, right?
Job, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's a
so
paid job.
It's been ups and downs. I think coming back to 30s was also finding myself.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, the day I started wearing my turban, I just felt like something heavy has been lifted.
Really?
And this is me. I don't care what people say about me. I felt beautiful because...
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Growing up, I have had... She's not fair enough. Her nose is not
pointy,
pointy enough. And I was joking with someone. I said, interestingly enough, people get lip fillers these days. Growing up, I was always told you have big lips. And I'm like... Great, I have big lips, right? There were a lot of things. There were a lot of things said to me, and which made me like, I'm not beautiful enough. I do not belong to the society. But now I think after wearing the turban, I don't even care. I feel
how has it lifted you? Because walk me through how it's made you feel.
Yeah, firstly, kudos to you. The reason I'm saying kudos is because my dad had a very similar journey. Like, he was not super religious, but he was a vegetarian since forever. But his story is when he was around like 30ish, when I was like 10 years old, my mom had me when I was like 20. Sorry,
10.
My mom had mom had me when she was 20. But like, my dad distinctly said that he was just like passing by and he listened to a Shabd Kirtan and something attracted, and he was not religious.
Oh, so he also never used to wear a turban?
No, and then after that he sat and listened to all the Shabds and he's like, dude, there's something attracting me. And next month he just like did an Amrit Pan. Amrit Pan is like
that's
becoming an Orthodox.
So not Orthodox. Becoming a baptized.
Sorry, that's the word. Becoming a baptized
Orthodox
Sikh.
is totally different connotation. Baptized, basically, you are like in Christianity, you do that, right?
Yeah.
And then it's basically following the path of the faith which you
believe in.
But
so how did
So what was your story? How did it happen?
So obviously I got baptized, but when I got baptized, I did not wear a turban. My obviously husband wears a turban.
Because I've not seen a lot of women do it.
Yeah, so actually, if you go back in the history, all women, Sikh women used to wear it. My mom wears it.
Oh, does
from
she?
40 years, yeah.
Wow.
And because in the end, Sikh religion, we are warriors, right?
Yeah.
Like so, and the reason the women used to wear it, going back in time when the Mughals invaded India, right? So and Sikhs used to fight. They used to fight,
Yeah.
and that was the time when Mughals used to come and take away the women and do all the wrong things with them. And so to make sure that their identity is hidden,
they would cover their hair.
They would also actually they would fight as well. They were all trained in martial arts and fully trained in martial arts, which is called Gatka, the Indian martial art. The Sikh martial arts. Yeah. And then they would be baptized and they would wear the turban, so no one could tell, right? If they will look all same. And even the last the Guru Gobind Singh Ji, when he created the Khalsa, he said, men and women are equal.
That's beautiful.
And then they are gonna stand out in a crowd. So, interestingly enough, when I got baptized, I did not. I used to cover my hair with the, chunni or, like just a stole, right? I used to get mistaken a lot for another faith. Yeah. Yes. And it was like, I think my son was 5 years old and he was ready to go to school. I was doing his hair, braiding his hair, and then was tying his smaller patka, which we call it.
Golan was.
And then he just looked at me and he said, "Mom, you always say in our religion men and women are equal." And I said, "Yes, and I stand out wearing this turban, and Dad wears one. Why don't you wear?"
Yeah.
Oh, was that the revelation for you?
That was a revelation. And I said, "Okay, I'm gonna wear one." I did not even think, literally did not think what my peers would say, what my team would say, what Microsoft managers would say.
What was the reaction? Did people notice? Did they ask you?
Oh, actually, it's interesting. We think so much about what people would say. Not even a single person asked me at work.
What would they say? I don't know if that's even appropriate.
And appropriate. And even if they would ask, it was so nicely asked.
It's out of curiosity. It's not out of
it's not
people,
bullying or anything. I think our own community actually tries to put us down.
Oh, wow. Really?
And
versus
versus our own extended families, whatever we want to call it, not to name that I had anything like that, but it's, I think, how if you are comfortable in your own skin, that helps. And I have, over the last 10 years, the way I wear my turban has changed.
Really?
I've tried multiple styles. I've tried, and it's I feel so good about it.
It's become fun, right?
It's not even, it is fun as
it's
well,
your identity
but
now.
It's my identity, but at the same time, I am I'm following the faith in the way where either you follow it right way or you don't.
Yeah.
Right? Like I frankly felt like when I was doing it, I was like in the middle, not here, not there, like, and not saying that I am great. I'm not. If you ask me, am I a great Sikh? I think Sikh, actually, the word S-I-K-H, right? It means learner, student. So I'm a student for life.
For life, yeah. You're never going to be.
I'm never going to be where, but it's an everyday step. So every day I pray that keep me on this path and give me more,
do you
give
just
me
pray
power.
At home? Or
we do pray at home. We do go to Gurdwara. We do go to congregations. My kids do the same.
Kudos to you again, because for the last 2 minutes, right, you can see how proud and happy you are about this identity. And the thing is, I share the same sentiment with you. Many people ask me, hey, do people make fun of you when you wear turbans? I'm like, no. Maybe I'm not good in reading signals, or maybe I'm super good in reading signals.
I don't think anybody does
and
that.
every person who has asked me in US and India, they usually are curious about like
They're
what it
curious.
is,
Yeah.
and they want to learn.
Yeah.
No one belittles it except for like high school, when everyone bullies you for literally everything, whether you're fat.
Everything.
So it's not about like bullying you for hair particularly, but everyone after my high school, right, they've asked me out of curiosity, out of respect, and they want to learn more about it. I'm like, that's nice, dude. The fact that people are interested in my faith, people are interested
Exactly.
in knowing why I have kept my pagdi even till this age, right? Many
Yes.
people cut their hair,
Yeah.
like lose their identity. That like makes me super proud, and I can see that pride in your
Yeah,
face as
that's
well.
really
so
empowering.
And you know, it is not easy to, you know, I'm not even sharing the intricate details of what happens when you do baptism or you go that path, because it is very,
It's a commitment, right?
it's
a deep commitment.
it's a very deep commitment for like,
It
if
makes you disciplined, you know.
it makes you
Yeah,
disciplined.
super disciplined.
No, and then there is like, you know, as a girl, it is a really, like, for my husband, I always joke with him, you didn't have to go through any change. You were always wearing a turban. You never cut your hair or
Did you
take
have to
out.
cut your hair?
I used to cut my hair. I had short hair. I had step cut when I was not following it.
And
right.
now what?
My hair, I don't cut it anymore.
so
not
now you
that,
don't
not
cut it
that
at
like
all.
it's relevant, but what is a step cut?
Step cut, it's just like layers,
Layers,
right?
layers.
It's like
layers,
So now
layers.
you don't
Gotcha.
cut it at all. Yeah.
Nope. So not my kids. Like my husband, my kids have never cut their
And
hair.
by the way, maintaining a woman's hair is very different than.
Well, I think they've shed a lot, and I'm getting grays, which is a
Yeah.
great way to cover my grays
Yeah.
as well. But my kids' hair, my son hair is till his knees. My
Yeah.
daughter's hair is till her knees, and
Does your
it's-
daughter wear a turban too?
She wears a turban
Oh,
too.
wow, so cute.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
my son wears a turban. My daughter wears a turban. Actually, you know, interestingly enough, when she was growing up and she was gonna go into her kindergarten in public school, that was the time when, I don't know if you, I'll probably age myself, Frozen movie,
Yeah.
Anna and
Elsa.
Elsa, and they have long hair
Yeah.
and they used to braid. And so, you know, I was just getting her ready for her kindergarten, and over the summer I said, so do you want to be Anna or Elsa, or do you want to be a car princess? And I said, I give you all the time to think about it. And then one day she said, no mom, I want to be a car princess.
Nice.
And
a
she,
car princess.
That's
I
so
know, and
cute.
she's the only one, obviously, in her whole school
I'm
wearing
sure.
a turban. And same was my son.
Yeah.
Like he's been the only one all through his, I think one time when we were in the Issaquah, or the Renton Highlands Issaquah school district, I think in his fourth grade he had twins who are still his friends who wear a turban
So
as
it's
well.
very few.
Makes sense.
So
It's
on a
very
different,
few.
how have you managed like your kids, your personal? I don't know if your brand that you were talking about, if it's a business or how you manage
It
it.
is a business.
So it's
Just
a proper
for-profit
business.
It is not a non-profit business.
No, I said for profit, right?
Yes,
So it's a
yes, it's
business.
a totally it's
Perfect,
a
yeah.
business. So I take mentees. First of all, I have a lot more input versus, because I do it, I say 5 to 9,
Yeah.
right? Out of that, you know, I got to sleep as well. And then
Gotcha.
I have help from finance and legal perspective as well.
So it's a full blown business.
Yes, and so I do keynote speaking through it, you know, in big corporations, you know, and that's good, because why do you want to
Limit you want to have multiple streams of income. B, it's your brand, and
it's
you're
my
helping
brand,
people.
and I'm helping people. And so the keynote speaking is at big corp, like on topics like diversity, inclusion. I did TEDx talk. TEDx is obviously, you know, they don't pay you. That's just for your brand, right?
Yeah.
I did TEDx talks, and then you know, big corporations, they're always looking for good speakers, especially diverse background speakers.
Yeah, and I think that with like your story and your background, I've never
Yeah.
seen.
It's amazing.
And
yeah.
then, you know, they're looking for leadership speakers, motivational speakers. So you know, when I did a lot of pro bono, to a point where it was like, I got into a corporation and they said, we would like to pay you this. And I was like, dang.
You get paid for this?
Really? 30 minutes I can make that
Yeah.
much?
Oh wow,
I go it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what is a split between how much time you spend mentoring versus
I think
talking
at this
versus all the other things?
talks are generally scheduled much in advance,
Okay.
like 3 to 6 months in advance, especially for big corporations. On the other side, mentees are come and go, right? So mentees, my full blown program is I'll take mentees. First of all, I interview them.
Oh,
I cannot take everyone. I cannot.
What do you look for in a mentee?
Yeah, so
I might consider.
I,
So tell me, what do you look for?
I was
Taking
gonna-
notes.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
I was gonna say that because interestingly enough, when you have built up your brand, everyone tries to. If you go and look on LinkedIn or anywhere else, you search for career coach. There are hundreds of them.
Yeah, there's a lot, and like everyone wants to call themselves a career coach.
But
Okay,
they-
what's a career coach? What does a career coach
so
do?
that's where
Yeah.
I'm saying, right? Like they are not certified. First of all, they don't know what frameworks are.
Yes.
They're early in career themselves.
Wait, when you say certified, you know like how you have life coaches and
ACC.
all. You got an actual certification.
Yes, I got.
Is
ACC
is that similar as how people get certified to be a life coach? Is it through
It is the same. Yes.
umbrella?
Yes. Yes.
That's actually really hard to get.
It
I mean,
is
it's
very.
you have
so
to pay for
200.
it yourself.
Yeah. I paid for myself.
Yeah,
and
it's a
then
big
I
investment.
Wow.
I did Jay Shetty certification as well.
Dude, I love Jay Shetty.
Yes, so
Oh,
I
didn't
did
know he did
certification. Yeah, his certification for life coach as well. I did that. Dale Carnegie, I did that.
Dale Carnegie's a really
yeah,
good
and
one.
then career for leadership coaching through Seattle Coach. I did that. So first of all, you have to get their frameworks which you use, right? And then
this is good to
no
look
one,
at.
if you're good in English, you can
Doesn't
write
make-
a good resume,
Yeah.
but that doesn't make you a coach.
Yeah, it doesn't
So-
make you an English teacher. You might not know grammar, but you can
right,
still.
so it's less about resume writing. It's more about, so when I interview, I kind of look for the potential because I've been a hiring manager for so long as
Yeah.
well, right? So I do not
How do you
want to
gauge potential? This is something that I've been like
that's
asking
where
many leaders, because like when I see person, right, like a person can be super enthusiastic in the first meeting, right? They can have amazing ideas, but ideas don't meet potential, right? Potential can only be gauged after a couple of meetings, because that is when, because in the first meeting or the first couple of calls, right, you can easily put up a
No,
facade
I
and say,
disagree.
hey, I
I
have this
think-
I
potential.
disagree. I feel like you can. In the first call, you can weed out at least 50 to 70%.
yeah,
of
so
people.
I don't look
Oh.
for 100% match.
Okay.
First of all, if a early in career connects with me, I
Yeah.
do take that coffee call,
Okay.
30 minutes, but then I guide them through that. You don't have to pay for me. You just follow me on LinkedIn. I share so many free resources. And here is some more persons. This is way of giving back. Like I have so many other early in career coaches, like, shout out to Consulting, right?
Yeah.
Like they do amazing work. Like I'll try to send them to those businesses.
It has to be a mutual fit.
Yeah.
So what exactly are
So
you looking
I am
for?
looking for mid to senior.
Okay, that's
or,
me.
Mid to senior,
That's
or
me.
even someone who's ready to get into their next, SLT,
Okay.
right? Because those are the people. I'm, someone who it makes me go. Makes my heart go like a little bit like it makes me happy when I'm able to take someone who is, I'm just going to give the compensation side of it, like someone who's like 80 to 150K to 250 to 350.
Yeah, and you feel like
Because
okay, I helped
guess
them.
what? Next time when he or she is, first of all, 90% of my clientele, I try to do underrepresented and minority women.
Yes,
Um,
that's amazing.
Right?
That
And-
you have built that niche because everyone else. I mean, there's a home for everyone else, but there's very few homes for people who are women of color who are underrepresented.
Exactly. And, then when I do that, maybe in 6 months or even an year, when they're looking for the next thing, they're not going to start from 120 or 150. They're going to start from 250, 300,
300.
and then move from there.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when you said that's my legacy with why
Yeah.
blend in, right? I have in my last year, I think close to 3 million in negotiations.
Oh,
Wow.
In negotiations, not I earned.
Yeah.
in negotiations.
But how much you help people, and how many mentees do you take on?
So in a month, I have capped myself to 5, but
Yeah,
that
so
doesn't
you give
mean I
time.
have 5. I have at times like 60, 70, but everyone
Gotcha.
is in a different stage, right? Someone is in resume, someone is in LinkedIn strategy, someone is actually interviewing, and I'm doing mock interviews.
Okay.
Someone is actually in offer negotiation, so I'm working with offer negotiation strategies. Now, I'll tell you, last year, after October, I paused a lot of contracts
Why?
because of this market. I was
Okay.
like, I think your plan B at this point should be keep doing the best in your current role.
job. And I think that's the thing, it changes, right? The advice changes as the
Yeah. So
economic
that's where coach comes in.
Yeah.
Right, like coach is a person, there's always this misnomer about coach versus mentor, right? Coach is your lifelong guide.
They nudge you in the correct direction.
You're going on the road, and it's a pretty broad road. They'll try
They'll
to
just be like,
nudge
"Hey,
you from
just
the
go there."
sides
Yes, yeah.
to make you go on the right one,
Correct.
and probably the one which is less traveled, because that's where you can make the most difference, right? And it's been interesting for me as I've been learning all these coaches frameworks, and as someone who did not had any resources in my 30s. So here's another reason why I started this. I frankly feel like, and this is not a bad thing for me or a question for myself, I could have reached with the potential I have now, which I've found myself, I could have reached where I am in my 30s.
You're saying if you had the toolkit, the knowledge,
Exactly.
that you're sharing with other people
Yes.
earlier,
Yes.
right?
And that's where I'm like, Harpreet, I don't know if I'm going to be here in next month or even next day. So if I can pave the path for people who are coming after me, and they may remember, like, the relationships I've built for the people who are no longer my coachees or mentees as well, and they are done with they have reached the outcome which we had established in my coaching contract. They're still connected to me. Someone had a baby. I went to the baby shower. Someone is
So you're
calling a
building
call.
that incredible community.
Someone just called, actually invited me to her brother's wedding in Toronto, and I'm like, that's too far. But like, even getting that invitation, think about that.
Yeah.
They
It's a
think,
thought that counts.
Yeah, you're building that community, and
Yeah,
like they
it's-
think of you as more than just
yeah, and it's like I have hundreds of, like, as in India, as we say,
Testimonials, yeah.
sisters or brothers, or I have taken few men, but they are like on my coaching, and after a very deep thought, because they two of them are immigrants. One is from Argentina, one is from, like, from different places.
backgrounds.
And I because I frankly feel like there is a lot of, and I'm very open. I'm not in for, yes, money is a part of it, but I'm in for making them successful. I'm in for a win-win versus, I don't win if they don't win.
Exactly. The fact that you acknowledge that, right? This shows how much you've thought into it, because again, your energy is also money. You cannot just like keep giving out energy and get nothing in return.
Yeah, you
And
have to give out. I give out a lot when you're doing
Yeah.
the certifications. You have to do hours and hours of pro
Exactly.
bono coaching.
So I don't think that having the money
Yeah,
aspect of the
and
financial is bad at all.
Today, if you go out, right? If you go out and buy a branded thing, or you gotta pay for it, right? If you go to a university to get higher education, you gotta pay for it.
I always think whatever you pay is what you get. I feel like obviously there are people who can like give you advice and stuff for free, right? But the level of investment when you pay for somebody
Exactly.
is so deep. I'm a huge advocate. Like, I personally feel like I used a coach when I was looking to move jobs from Microsoft to Facebook, and that person helped me a lot.
Because
like
there
a
is,
lot.
if you're paying for, like, I don't even go hourly, I go with this
A
thing,
package.
But I say to my mentees, I will take you if you commit for your 200%, because 100% I'm giving.
Yeah.
You gotta give me double of that.
Exactly.
Because
It's not a one-way street.
it's not a one-way street, and I really want you to be successful. Last year I had one person early in career. I had to take her. She literally pleaded to me, and I felt like she had the potential, from 80K to 240K.
Wow.
3x. Wow. That's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
When she told her parents back home, they said, when she called her parents, they said, cut the phone, like, do not call us, first call Harpreet.
And
Exactly.
thank her. Yeah.
Thank
And
the
so
people who have like
that's-
guided you in correct direction.
Yeah,
So
That's
how
nice,
do you
yeah.
how do you manage this business with having kids and your I mean
Before that, can I ask you something?
Sure.
So you said you teach a lot of mentees, you teach a lot of people, right? But who teaches you? Where do you learn stuff from? Who are your mentors? Who are your like? What's your resource of like getting the information that you ultimately pass on to your mentees?
I learn a lot on job.
Okay.
So kudos to Microsoft. And then I read a lot.
what do you like to read?
I
Best
read
books?
mostly online. Like I'll keep reading blogs. And then the inspiration is the person who supports me the most is my husband, because if he wouldn't be there, like he takes care of after school activities or kids, other things. The
So
other
that's how
thing
you
is
balance it out, I
yeah,
guess.
I think it's also I don't have it all. There are times when I'll push things.
Oh, wow.
But I'm also blessed that I also have older kids now, and
But the 10-year-old is still young.
oh yeah, she is so independent. I can't tell you. I'm just so amazed at her independence. The only thing we have to take care of her is tying her turban.
wow.
Rest, she can get ready. She can make her own lunch.
She knows how to cook.
She
Or
can actually,
basic?
yeah, basic. She can make sandwiches or something like
She
that.
sounds like a baller.
Oh, she's a
love
black
it.
belt
Oh,
in
wow,
taekwondo.
really?
Both my kids are black
Okay,
belt.
she's the next guest of my podcast.
Oh,
I'm bring-
she's
I'm bringing
so
her.
amazing, amazing. She's
So I think having good kids helps, when they're easier
Yeah,
probably helps.
I think they have seen the struggles. So going back 2 years back, we had a major life event at our home for my husband on the health thing, and I think that grew my kids. I frankly feel like ages. My
Wow.
son applied like I've been talking to a few of my friends. I have no idea what he has written in his essays. I have no idea what I did not know that because I was so heads down taking care of my husband. And
So they matured a little
they
bit. in that
matured
time.
a little bit, but that doesn't mean that I don't support them. Like,
Yeah.
so I have blocked my hours. I don't take more than 2 or 3 hours of coaching calls
In a day.
which is a lot as
That's a
well.
lot.
Think about it, because I'm giving
That's a lot
by
of
the end of the day I'm emotionally drained, and that's I think my giggling time with the kids.
Yeah.
I'm like a friend to them. The hard like my husband is they fear from him, not me. I'm just like
There
a
always
kid
has to
with
be a
them.
good cop, bad
Yeah.
cop.
It
Yeah.
has to be.
So
Are you the
it's-
bad cop or the good cop?
She just
I'm
said
the
they
good
fear her
cop.
husband.
I'm
Okay.
they
No,
don't
sometimes
they
like
make
my dad was like a good cop, but I feared the shit out of him.
That's
Like he
the
never
same
said
thing.
anything. My
That's-
dad never even yelled at me. Just once he showed me his eyes, and I was like, "What the?
I
Something's
think that's
happening."
the same for my husband. Like he's really calm, but at the same time, if they know if dad's like,
Yeah.
we gotta hide.
So how do you and your husband sort of balance it? Because
It's a
he's working, you're
partnership.
working, you
It's
have the
a part-
kids, you have
it's-
the business.
Yes, every day in the morning we discuss. We are on our phone all the time.
Oh, wow.
Like who's picking. Actually, now my son can drive, so they're going
That's
to
good.
That's
after
an ease.
school.
Yeah, that's an
After
ease.
school activities are easy. He will go drop the girl, or they'll go together to taekwondo,
That's nice.
or all the things, right? So it's
Because
it's
he's
me.
older now.
He's older now. Older, there are not many parents, especially Indian, who allow 17-year-old to drive. But I think he's built that trust with us
That's
where
nice.
he can.
But
take
that's
care.
really important. Yeah, because the second you learn how to drive, if it's, you learn it the right way and it's trustworthy, it does save up a huge chunk of time.
a
Yeah.
lot, right? And so he's actually doing associates as well, so
That's
it's
really
called
good.
Running Start, and
Nice.
he's actually doing 2 years college with his
High school
Is
level.
high
he
school
taking
as
like
well.
AP classes? Or?
He's all done with all
Wow.
that.
Nice.
He is actually, if he's
That's
he's
so
able to
cool.
transition, he'll go as a junior.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, which is probably
It's
gonna
pretty
be.
amazing the fact that
He did
I'm
it all by himself, by the way.
and I'm pretty
Because
sure that
I-
trickled from you and
I
like
think
Harsh.
having I mean, I was always really self-motivated. I hope, knock on wood, that if I have kids, they would be. But I think the best motivation is when it comes from within. Because if
Yeah.
somebody forces you, you'll resent them.
So when people ask me, and there are people in our own community as well as at work, they're like, Tiger Mom, and I'm like, I don't even know
Yeah.
what he has done.
So having said that, right, like what do you like if you want to like give advice to three kinds of people, right? One in the 20s, one in the 30s, and one people who are like having kids and managing work and job and family as well, right? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, and
I
I'll
think-
also add, if you can also share, the biggest you said you didn't know a lot of stuff and you learned a lot while you were prepping for the
Yeah.
career coaching, like frameworks and all. If you could tie that in there as well.
So
That'd be great.
20s, I think, figure it out, right?
Okay.
Like 20s is always figuring it out. But the key thing is, do not limit yourself. One thing which I frankly did myself was like, this is the path I'm going to take, and that's it. Or, there's nothing else, right? Like if you're becoming a software engineer, I never
Yeah.
thought I would be into product management.
Oh, wow.
It was just like someone said, oh, you're really good at communications as well. Like, you try different things. I think instead of saying this is what I like, I have one of my mentees, she's really good in research, and I'm like, but you're really good at communications too. You're really good at stakeholder management too. But
Yeah.
you're really good at research too. You're really good at data too. You can be a really good data PM. She never thought about that. She's thought she'll become a research teacher or a professor. And she's like, oh my God, I never thought about that. So, follow, keep trying different things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, something will hit. Right. And then another thing is different aspects of, we say one job. We can have multi-dimensional careers. I'm a mom. I'm a painter too, actually.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
abstract
I'm
painter.
gonna put her painting out here.
Yeah.
I'll just, like, put it
So
out.
and then I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm a mom. And these days I am trying to do HIIT. I'm like the other day I did 100 pounds RDL,
Oh wow.
right? And I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, what is RDL?
Romanian
It's like a
deadlift.
deadlift.
That's what I was doing at the gym. I can only do 45 pounds.
I did 100 pounds,
Wow.
right? Like so.
Dude, I'm only at 45. I've got to practice more.
So I never thought hitting 40 I can do this.
Yeah,
Because I saw
that's
my mom
inspirational.
and my our age, like when my parents and my aunts and all were aging, they were like, as soon as they hit 40 and they're like, oh, we're getting old.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
But nowadays, the generation is so different. I'm seeing like women now that are obviously younger than my parents, and it's like so inspiring. And I'm like, I want to be like this.
Yeah.
I want to be active
Yeah.
and like doing
so
stuff.
it's just 30s is if again if people ask me how do you feel of having a 18-year-old 17-year-old at this age, and I'm like, that's okay. I feel like it's got its pros and cons. Mostly
Yeah.
I can see the pros.
Yeah.
Actually at this point I'm like, by the time I'll be 50
You
he'll
can
be
enjoy
it's
now.
like, right, like
They're done.
yeah, my kids, they say like, Mom, for your 20th please go somewhere, like like we can take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right, like if I had little kids, it's hard. When if you do end up getting married, again, every person has their own choice. It's all about partnership.
Yeah.
Gone are the days when men's gotta go and earn, or women's gonna just take care of the home chores. No, you are
Yeah.
equal. I think we gotta change the norms. My husband loves cooking,
Yeah.
and I'm saying it on the podcast.
Let him cook. You can do some other.
He loves to cook, and I let him cook. I cook too. It's not
Yeah.
like I don't cook, right? Like we make a plan and we stick to it. There are times people like it, there are times people don't like it, but we both are okay. It's the understanding between you and the
Yeah.
other person.
Yeah.
There will be people even in your own community who will talk behind your backs. You cannot make everyone happy.
Exactly.
There
Wow,
will
people still do
always
that?
be people who will talk behind your back. There will always be people. So either you go by getting worried about that, or you go with your own thing. There have been people who have said directly and indirectly, they both are really career focused. They only think about money, and
Oh my
their
God.
kids are going to be this, and I'm like, my kids are okay.
Yeah.
When I sent my daughter, like, I'll be honest, I got that time Microsoft used to give 4 months of 3.5 4 months of maternity leave.
Maternity.
Now it's 6 months, and my daughter was in daycare at 4.5 months,
Wow.
and I got a lot of backlash from
Really?
that
Why?
one. Because, like,
You're
she's
supposed
too little. She's are we done?
You can continue. You can just wrap
So
with that. Yeah.
but I was like, I'm ready to go back. I think I've spent enough time, and she's still going to be my baby, and
Yeah.
she's turned out okay.
Yeah.
She turned out more immune. She turned out more social. She turned out really okay. She's able to mingle. She's able to stand up for herself.
I think
Yeah.
that is so important.
That's super important.
Yeah. So I think, and then as every year you grow older, you're getting closer to what's there's going to be one day everyone's going to go away,
Yeah.
right? But how do you make the best out of it? So if
Exactly.
I have to give one thing away, is keep learning.
Yeah.
Don't be that this is what I have been doing for 20 years, I'm going to keep doing this. I literally feel like, even as husband and wife, 20 years we are figuring new ways of our relationship.
Yeah,
That's
how
so
do you
nice.
guys do?
That's so
Do you
cute.
guys still find time to go on date
Oh
nights
yeah,
and stuff?
we do. We
That's
do.
important.
I don't know if I can say it out loud, but we do. And like, my community was like, "What date night?"
They won't care now. Trust me. Like,
no,
we are in
we
an age
do.
where they won't
Actually,
care.
we sometimes we just go on for a drive, and we,
That's nice.
he's like, "Let's go in our Porsche." I'm like, "Yeah, go. Let's go."
Awesome.
Yeah. So we do, and then we go out for family vacations together,
That's
and
nice.
it's just, how do you find time? I think it's when people say, how do you do it all, it's less about finding time. It's the quality time versus the quantity.
Gotcha.
You can spend the whole day with your kids and still not be close to them. So it's the quality
Quality over
versus
quantity.
Yeah,
quantity.
that is so
That's
true.
Right.
amazing.
What is the impact of my 1 hour with my husband? What's the impact of that 30 minutes with my little kid? What's the conversation I'm having versus if I have whole day and I'm watching my own thing, she's watching her own thing.
That's amazing.
Right. Like, so it's I think because we have less time, then we
It
try
forces you to connect on a
have
much
that
deeper
quality
level.
time.
That's so amazing.
This
Yeah.
was great.
Ma'am, thank you so much. Like,
Yeah.
the
First of
entire
all, stop calling me
Call
ma'am.
me.
I feel old.
it's out of respect.
I'll call you Harpreet.
It's
Thank
out
you
of
so
respect.
much.
The thing is, it's out of respect. When like sometimes like I call people who are like
Yeah,
like
just don't
younger
call
than
me
me sir
auntie.
or ma'am, because when it comes out of respect, right? It's like, yeah, but it
Thank
was
you,
ama-
Golan sir, for having.
Thank you, Golan sir, for having
I
me.
appreciate you folks coming and like having having an
was
amazing
so fun.
Like, you could have seen I had a smile throughout
Yeah,
the
same
podcast.
here.
It was
It
so
was
amazing.
really great.
I loved every second of it. I super appreciate you coming here. Like, for the last bit, right? Give all the social network, like the people who are watching this episode, where can they follow you? Where can they see your stuff? And what are your LinkedIns? What are your Instagrams? So that
I
can
think
make
my
attachments as
LinkedIn
well.
is, if you search for Vibe London, Harpreet Kaur, Microsoft, you will
Perfect.
find there's no one else. There's only me. And then vibelondon.com, that's
Nice.
my website, which actually has linked to my Instagram as well as LinkedIn,
Yeah.
other socials as well. I am going to be changing my Instagram handle to Vibe London too.
Okay.
I'm
gotcha.
trying to find, there is a person who already
Vibe
has
London?
this, Vibe London, and
Let's
he
report
has
that
only
person.
200 followers, and I'm trying to say,
Hey, can you change it?
can you change it, please? Because this is, but we'll see. If he
Yeah.
doesn't, I'll change it to something else. But
Awesome.
I think he doesn't know how to look at his messages as well. It's
200
probably
followers.
going somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
right?
thank you so much, ma'am. I
No.
had an amazing time.
Thank you so much
people
for
looking
having
at this
me.
episode, another episode wrapped in the things. As you all know, like, last week was a crazy layoff season, so I'll be attaching links for all the help that I can find on LinkedIn, on Google Drive, a list of HRs, and all the help that I can do. And if you need anything, just ping me on Instagram or Messenger, and I'd love to have a chat with you. And
Same here
goes
as
with
well.
other people as well. But have a great rest of the night, and thank you so much for another part. Like, share, subscribe. Peace. But let me give her a formal introduction. She is a director at Microsoft and product Azure HCI. She is the president of Vibe Blendin. She is a storyteller. She has an amazing social media influence and presence. She has amassed over 100K followers on all platforms, and things that she's super passionate about is women in tech, family, and more other things like I blanked out. More other things like storytelling, how to shape careers, and making your own personal branding as well. Welcome, Mrs.
Thank
Harpreet.